Big up Spurs fans near and far with your boy Deji Spurs. And you know what? I needed some time. I needed some time to have a reflection. I needed some time to think about the season just gone and just give you my views in relation to my club. Thank you for being on this journey. Just wanted to give you my 2 cents on Tottenham's season so far. Look, the reality is at the beginning, I was not. Let's take ourselves back to the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, remember we just come out and finished 2022, 2023 under Conte. Conte doesn't even finish the season. It's pretty dusty and my club is in the mud. Yeah? And we finished 8th. We don't even get European football. That's how dusty. The first time in about 6 or 7 seasons, no European football for my club. And then we're tired with managers. First, we're thinking we're going to get Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann then rejects us. Then we think we might be even going to get Arne Slot. We don't get Arne Slot. And then we're thinking, what is going on there? Then we're linked with Xavi as well for the job. And it's just not happening. And then we end up with a brother called Postecoglou. Now, I've been seeing Postecoglou in Celtic, but I'm not going to lie to you, I weren't taking the Scottish League that seriously. Not that there's anything wrong with the Scottish League, but it gets a bit boring when there's only 2 teams that win it. It's either Rangers wins it or Celtic wins it. So I never really put my head there. And then they're telling me that this brother is going to come to my club and do something at my club. And I'm like, nah, I'm not on it. He's won the league in Australia. He's won the league in Japan. He's done the treble in Scotland. I'm like, I don't give a damn. I don't care. So for me, my expectations at the beginning of the season was low, given the circumstances. I saw a lot of Tottenham fans shaking their bum. And the thing with me is, I'm not a pretender. If I don't know something, then I don't know. But I don't jump on the bandwagon because everyone else is jumping on the bandwagon. All of a sudden, Tottenham fans all over the gaff, yeah, I know Postecoglou, he's legit, he's this, he's that. I couldn't say that because I don't know nothing about him. Get me? I weren't watching his football, didn't care about what he was doing in Scotland. He comes to my club, he talks a big game. I'm like, well, that's very interesting, but this is the Prem, mate. This ain't no Farmers League. This ain't no dusty league, if you know what I'm saying. So my expectations was low. My expectations for the season was, you know what? I don't even mind Tottenham finishing 8th, provided we play better football. Because I'm not going to lie to you, if you can take your mind back to the diabolical football that we were playing under Mourinho and under Conte. And for me, you know, the straw that broke the camel's back is when we went to the Emirates under Conte and we sat back and we allowed this Arsenal team to whiplash us. For me, I don't give a damn how dusty my team is. North London derby, you must have a goal. If you're not having a goal and you're literally sitting on their lap, pulling your pants down, saying, no, you hit me, daddy, you hit me, daddy, then nah, I'm not on it. I don't want you. Any manager that is scared of our North London rivals, get out. I don't want any of that crap. So Postecoglou comes in, and I'm not being funny. First game of the season against Brentford. Romero hit with a concussion. Van de Ven with maybe a howler of Vicario. Remember at the beginning of the season, I wasn't convinced. Because when I saw Vicario in pre-season, he was looking like vicarious liability, in my opinion. And we'll get into Vicario later in this segment. So we get the 2-2 draw. It's not the greatest of starts. He's pulled Romero off. Romero's pissed. I'm pissed. And we end up drawing the game. And really and truly, we should have got boxed. But Emerson Royale comes up on the edge of the box, bangs it in, and we have a 2-2. And we'll take that. After that, let's be real. We played United at home, and it was a jammy 2-1 win. United should have blown Spurs out of the window from day. Fernandes missing an open goal pretty much. Rashford. And you're thinking, rah! And then somehow my club, they pick up the results. And we keep picking up results. We were jammy against Liverpool. For me, I said it at the time in any of the streams that we were due a win. I didn't care how we won, but we were due a win. And we struggled. bloody hell, mate. Liverpool went to 9 men and we had to score pretty much a last-minute winner. But you know what? Postecoglou, Premier League, boom, we will be taking these points. He's getting now August Manager of the Month. You know, Madders is looking and he's sourcing. And I was unsure about Madders. I knew Madders was the one. And remember, one of the things that kind of hit us as well in that early stage, and sorry to kind of go back a bit, is we literally lost Kane the day before. If you lost the world's best striker the day before the season started, so it was all mad. But I have to say, Madders coming in, he took on that mantle. He didn't allow us to fill the void because that is a major hole. Of course, we felt the void. We missed Kane. We missed him this season. But we were able to move on quicker because Madders literally hit the ground running. It's as if he's been at the club 3 or 4 seasons. Big up to him. And the way that he was playing with pride, the way man's hitting the badge, I was like, I love this brother. So I said at one point, with the way that he's giving the assists and he's banging in goals, this is almost as good as having Kane. And could you imagine if Kane was still there and Madders was just feeding him the ball? It would have been a mad thing. So look, anyway, Postecoglou, despite all of that, doesn't seem phased. And he's getting us winning. And then we find ourselves literally top of the league, most points accomplished after 10 games. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm shaking my bum violently, saying, rah, Pape Sarr's now in the team. He couldn't get a sniff. What was Conte thinking? Buying your doggy, sending him back when he's such a class act. What a player. Van de Ven, what a defender. We weren't expecting him to be our version of Arsenal's Saliba or our Diaz or John Stones. You know what I mean? This brother could easily play for City. He's like a Guardiola. In my view, he could have easily played for City. That's how good Van de Ven is, you know, or he could definitely be in the back line for Arsenal, in my opinion. So, you know, we're bringing in top-level players. Vicario surprised me. I stopped calling him Vicarious Liability by game 10. I started to call him his real name, you know, Vicario, even though he got suspected towards the end of the season, and we'll get into that. But I'm saying, all right, this looks all right. Madders, Van de Ven, and Vicario, 3 players. That's all he changed. That is pretty much Conte's squad. You remember Pedro Porro is a wing back, but Pedro Porro now is sourcing. And at that stage in the season, he had the same number of assists or in and around what Trent. He was doing Trent numbers on that right-hand side. Your doggy proved himself from day one. He's the best left back in the league, and definitely. And even at that stage, if people were doing their Premier League 11 for the season, at that stage in the season, 6 players was coming from my club. Definitely Vicario at that time was the best keeper in the league. You're definitely having Pedro Porro in your team. Madders gets in. Son gets in. Do you know what I mean? Your doggy gets in. Do you get what I'm saying? And it was looking saucy. And then we had that game against Chelsea. That game against Chelsea, man, was the one where I was hoping Pochettino coming back to Spurs, let him get a flavour of what he's missing at my club. And I think for me, the most disappointing thing wasn't losing the game. It was the manner in which we lost and what we lost because of it. We lost Madders, Romero getting sent off. We lost Van de Ven. We got banged 4-1. But even though we got banged 4-1, what I saw from my manager is it was the best defeat of the season for me in terms of heart and spirit. I don't mind losing, but if you're going to lose, you go down fighting. If you're going to go down on the Titanic, try and swim out. Don't just sit there and doing the violin. Do you get what I'm saying? So with that, you know, we went out fighting it, and that's when I coined the phrase. Well, I didn't coin it, but that's when I realized that Postecoglou is a Shakespearean prodigy right here. It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. He's saying, Bandis, we're not going to sit back and hope for the best. We might as well go for it since the adversity is already struck. After that, he was testing and learning. And I talked during the season about testing and learning. This is when we realized what we could do. This is when we realized if we had a squad or not. And to be fair, I felt, given the level of adversity, Basuma getting suspended, I mean, Basuma just got reckless and all of that stuff, we were now like playing Wolves, and we had Ben Davis and Emerson Rowe in centre-back positions, or I think it was Ben Davis, definitely was on the pitch for that one. Then we're going to the Etihad with Ben Davies, Emerson Royale, and we're coming away with a 3-3 draw. So we're looking depleted, and only Postecoglou is mad enough to put Emerson Royale and Ben Davies at centre-backs. And I think for me, one of the things I learned from this season is maybe you can. It's not great, it's not ideal, but I'd rather have Emerson Royale and Ben Davies centre-back than bloody left and right back. I never want to see Emerson Royale right or left back doing the inverted role and Ben Davies. Not to cuss them, but they're just not up to the speed and they can't handle what Postecoglou is asking them. We crack on, we slap up Newcastle 4-1. It's all right, but we had opportunities to get top 4. And for me, people say, you're looking at the squad, even there was a stage where I thought we could maybe catch Arsenal, but the long-term injuries. And, when I'm bantering with these people online, they don't contextualize nothing. They just talk, I thought you said they were going to do this, I thought you said they were going to do. Look, the truth of the matter is, when we were sourcing and everything was going rosy, we could have done it. We could have, why not? But the injuries, the suspension, it just knocked the rhythm. Arsenal had finished second without their rhythm being disrupted. Yeah? Them man had Saliba, Gabriel pretty much the whole season. I want to know, where would Tottenham have finished had Van de Ven been back the whole season? Where would Tottenham have finished had Maddison not had that long-term dangerous injury? If them two brothers didn't suffer the way they suffered, I think Tottenham finished. I think we finished maybe 3rd or 4th, for sure. Do you get me? We would have definitely pushed the top 2. But we had that long-term injury, and Madders came back in January. Van de Ven came back. In fact, we rushed him back. Remember, Bentancur had just come back from pretty much being 9 months out. They're trying to get up to speed in the Premier League, the toughest league in the world. It's tough. So we do that. It gets a bit bitty. And then I think for me, we're winning, losing, winning. And I thought the tables had turned when we went to Villa Park, where everyone was shaking their bum violently about, now you can't get a result there. Have you seen what Villa's done at home? Rare, blah, blah, blah. We went to Villa and we slapped them up 4-0. I'm like, yep, my club is back. Because that was the first test for Spurs. Pressure. When you need to win, can you win against your rivals? And we went there and we banged them. So I'm shaking my bum violently like, yeah, right. That's it. Top 4 is in the can. Those 10 games that we had, by the way, it was like 11 games we didn't have Van de Ven and Madders. I was thinking, it's long. Those 11 games affected our club. It affected our season. Had it not been that choppy, I mean, Arsenal, Man U will say the same. Newcastle will say the same. And then I've got people bantering me. It don't matter. That's why you have a squad. Shut your mouth about squad. You need your best players, and you need your best players for as long as possible. When you have your best players for as long as possible, then you see Wagwan. Then you see what's going on. Man City lost 3 games, and guess what? Those 3 games, Rodri didn't play. Let that sink in. 3 Premier League games, and the 3 games Rodri didn't play. After that, when Rodri came back, they were there. Meaning, one player can make a difference. The only game Rodri lost was the bloody FA Cup final on the weekend. Apart from that, my brother hasn't lost a game for 74 matches. So if I'm telling you one player like your doggy makes a difference, it makes a difference. Yeah, it does. If your doggy was playing in the North London derby at our gaff, I think it's a different result. If your doggy was playing against bloody what's their name, Man City, it's a different game. It's a different game, baby. Do you get what I'm saying? But in big games, football, big 6 teams, big players, big miss on the pitch. That's what it is. And then, we coined the phrase the Musketeers. I'm talking about the 3 Musketeers. I'm expecting Tottenham to have a say in the title run. The truth is, we had no say. We didn't do nothing against Liverpool. We didn't do nothing against Arsenal. We did nothing against City. And in fact, even in there, we got slapped up by Chelsea and we got slapped up by Newcastle. And it was disastrous, in my opinion. Why was it a disaster? A lot of Tottenham fans, Postecoglou doesn't want to adapt. Look at him, he keeps playing the high line. Why doesn't he do this? Why doesn't he do that? I agree. There were periods, especially against Newcastle, where man could have just dropped deep a little bit. Maybe hit and hope, especially if you don't have the players to play that system, then change the system. Look, Postecoglou has come out to say at the end of the season, he's made mistakes. He's not perfect. And I'm hoping he has learned from those mistakes and he will implement something new. But one thing I can say, though, is that people saying he's not ready to adapt. That ain't true. He's adapting. But sometimes, I've been a manager myself, albeit grassroots. It's when you've got an idea in your head, before you change that idea, you kind of need adversity. You kind of need your hands forced a little bit. So, for example, if I had a certain striker and a certain winger, I would always have the striker and the winger playing where I wanted them to play. And then I'd have my subs. I even have my subs predetermined before the game sometimes. And then adversity might hit. And this person I've never considered or who's on the bench to play wing or to play centre mid. Because I don't have it now, I've done it. Oh, bloody hell, they've done a job. Now that becomes a viable option. What am I talking about? I'm talking about what happened with Van der Ven. In his head, centre back, he has to be there alongside Romero. We can't bring Jacuzzi on. No, it don't work. No. Then his hands got forced. Emerson Royale was a disaster. Skippy was a disaster. Ben Davies is injured. Had Ben Davies not been injured, had Skippy not been injured, and had Emerson Royale not been the disaster he was at left back, we won't see Van der Ven at left back. But he was forced to play Van der Ven at left back. And guess what? Now next season is a viable option. If we don't get cover or centre back cover or cover for Udogie on the left this summer, then if Udogie gets injured, guess what? We can shift Van der Ven out to the left and Draguzin can come in. That comes from knowing your squad. That comes from having the ability to test and learn. That's why I said this season is a test and learn season. All these other rival fans chatting rubbish. There's you who said this. No, it's a rebuild. It's a test and learn. We are learning. Kulusevski coming on against West Ham to play in the number 10. I've been calling it for months because I said Kulusevski can't play out wide. Thanks, Postecoglou, for following the channel. Yes, it's an option because when he was number 10, when Madders was injured, he was actually sourcing. It's just that Kulusevski went off form, but that was an option that we learned. So we're learning, we're constantly moving the pieces. Do you get me? So for me, given all of that, the only disappointing thing I would say is that, towards the end, I thought it was in our hands to still get top 4. We could have got top 4. We just had to beat City. We just had to beat Sheffield United. I knew Crystal Palace was going to bang up Aston Villa with Eze, Elise, and Mateta up there sourcing. I knew that was in the bag. We just needed to do our job. And I felt slightly disappointed that we didn't beat City. But City had a full-strength team. We were without Richarlison. We were without Udogie. And so for me, given the circumstances, I remember at the beginning of the season also, people telling me about Richarlison. He's rubbish, this and that. Brother ended up with 12 Premier League goals. He did it. Got double figures. And then he had long spells of injury. Imagine if he wasn't injured as much as he was. Maybe Richarlison would have hit 15, 18 goals. So I think Richarlison definitely deserves another season at our club next season. So look, Tottenham fans, when you review all of that, review all the adversity that he went through. And one of the things I love about Postecoglou is he literally worked from the ground up. This brother has to fight for being it. He was not a name before. He became a name through hard work, through grafting. We got to give him a chance. So for me, I rate the season 7 out of 10. Why is it 7 out of 10? Because I'm pleasantly surprised. Yes, I am. I was not expecting Tottenham to finish in the top 5. Most fans had Tottenham to finish 6th or below. All this crap about Champions League football, no, that's a lie. We were unsure about Postecoglou. He had us there. He had us sourcing for a bit, but also weighing in all the adversity. Remember, he's only brought in 4 players. That is literally the legacy of Conte that he's inherited. I think he's done well. Pape Sarr coming in, all these man, Bentancur looked all right. Even Oiber at times, he looked decent. It's just, for me, Kulusevski disappointed. He had a disgraceful season. To Kulusevski, one of the worst players in the squad the whole season. But I think standout players for me was Udogie, obviously, Van der Ven. Romero had a good season, even from a bookings perspective. Romero was good. I thought Son was aight. Richarlison was aight. Madders started strong, but he faded. Basuma started strong and faded. Papa Sarr, I thought had a decent season. Pedro Porro, I thought had a decent season. Vicario started strong, but this kind of inability to deal with set pieces, I'm not going to lie, it started to piss me off. And because he was letting in soft goals, and I think questions need to be asked. And I think a goalkeeper position is something that we need to look at, because the way he was leaking goals, it was worrying. And also, he was giving the opposition confidence with the way that he was just flapping at these balls. Great shot stopper, all right with his distribution, but set pieces, being able to command the penalty area with corners, nah, that is a weakness. And if he doesn't get his act together over the summer, then I expect us to bring in a replacement. Postecoglou done well. Yes, he was stubborn at times. The reason for his stubbornness is because he's trying to embed his style of play into the DNA of the players. Once it's fully embedded, then we will see our club source. Then, you know, you've seen Man City, instinctiveness in the way that they play. Arsenal, instinctive. They know where they're going to be. They know where they are. When Odegaard's got the ball, Saka's making a certain run. Martinelli's making a certain run. Even bloody Trossard, even Declan Rice. That's why these men were banging goals. We started banging goals, but we started second guessing. That's why he talks about bravery. That's why Postecoglou was getting mad, because they weren't being brave on the ball. They weren't moving. They weren't doing the patterns that they discussed. Why? Because when they faced Arsenal, when they faced the City, when they faced the Liverpool, we second-guessed ourselves. We got scared. Some of the man them got scared. Let's be real. So we need to bring in players that ain't scared, that are going to do it regardless. And I think that's the job that we're going to do this summer. But yeah, overall, Postecoglou, thank you for coming to my club. Thank you for allowing us to love the game again. Because under Conte, it was dusty. I can't lie to you. I know people want to win, but I want to win. I want to enjoy. I want to go to the stadium and enjoy the football. I want to be able to see what Tottenham did against Man City in that first half, where Man City was legitimately rattled. That's what I love to see, playing football. Maybe at times we were overpassing. Maybe at times we didn't take enough shots, but people respected Spurs. Look at West Ham, that dusty team. David Moyes was shaking his bum violently for getting a draw, because he knew what our club was capable of. And that's what you want. You want our team putting fear in the opposition. They need to be scared of us, scared of what we can do. So overall, 5th in the Prem, in Postecoglou's first season, in the toughest league in the world, is good. It's good. I'm happy. I'm content with it. I'm not vexed. Yeah, I wanted Champions League football. We could have got it. But in reality, fair play to Villa. They were better than us. The table doesn't lie. We were the 5th best team, though, in the league. And so in that case, we deserved what we got. And actually, a lot of Tottenham fans were saying that maybe we're not ready for Champions League football. We don't have the squad. Why would we want to put ourselves, if we were struggling with one game a week, why do we want to put ourselves against the best in Europe when they ain't quite cooking yet? Maybe at the end of this season, though, we should be aiming. So for me, I would like Tottenham moving forward to be aiming for Champions League this season. Definitely. We need to bring in about 5 or 6 players. I'm already reading that we're looking to get rid of 8 or 9. Get rid of them real quick. Bring in the right players and support this manager. I think Postecoglou is going to surprise the league. I'm not listening to all of that narrative. Look at what he's done with the players that he's had. Let that sink in. Look at what he's done with the players he has. Don't be listening to the naysayers. Don't be listening to our rivals. They're chatting rubbish. This Postecoglou right now is legit. And Spurs fans, we need to get behind this brother. So well done, Postecoglou. Well done, players. We take it. 7 out of 10 season. It's not fantastic. There's still a lot more work to be done. We know the areas. I know Savo and Cole want to tell me about all the stuff that weren't working right. Yeah, we know that. But give the brother time to fix it. Don't be telling me he ain't going to fix it. Don't want to hear that. Let's give them time. Don't be telling me Levy ain't going to spend. Shush your mouth and let's see if he spends or not. That's it. Then we'll have the conversation. Do you get what I'm saying? But on that note, I think we should be pleased. That's my overview of the season. Spurs fans, I think we can take solace it's a work in progress. It was never going to be perfect first season. 5th is a respectable place to finish, given the debacle. And we tried to play football. And they gave us memories this season. So we should be proud of our club. I'm looking forward to the summer. I'm looking forward to the players that we're bringing in. And I'm looking forward to hitting the ground running. Bring in Ivan Toney. There are strong links linking us to Ivan Toney. Bring him in. What a player. And I think we could be sourcing. But on that note, thank you, Spurs fans. Enjoy your summer. And come on, you Spurs.